get where I was going.
All right, Wednesday got here quick. We landed pretty early on Tuesday and got right to work. Fired up about the game plan and getting back to work with the guys. So a really focused group, hungry and ready to go.
Can you give an update on Horn?
I'm going to keep all injuries, but I will say they're in the protocol, so they have to go. They have to make sure they pass all the necessary tests with all that.
Do you think it'd be unlikely, given the short week, that they'd be able to clear?
The short week does have a significant factor in it, and again, we just have to go through the right protocol and make sure that they're clearing, each hurdle along the way.
You have 3 healthy inside linebackers today. How much does that create an issue with special teams and plotting out the week, just as far as depth?
Absolutely. That's a group that we really lean on for special teams in their contributions, in the coverage units, particularly the interior of the punt team, on kickoff, but they're all over. They're all over the core 4 special teamers, that we count on. And so that's an area that we have to look at to see who can help us there and, could come from other positions. But those guys have been very valuable for us this year.
You've seen what Stafford's done and what the stats he's posted this year, and then you guys come in with a secondary that's a little bit banged up and possibly missing more. I mean, how do you deal with all this?
Yeah, we got to press into the game plan, look at what they're doing, how they're finding success. He's distributing the ball well to a bunch of different wide receivers, and he's playing great football. He's getting the ball out fast, and he's going through his progressions. He has a group that he really trusts, and so, we have to lean in on what they've been doing lately and make sure that we have, solutions for that in our coverages and be aware of how they're trying to attack.
I mean, on that note, he's been doing this for so long. Can you throw anything at him that surprises him anymore?
You could. You should. We should try to, in different ways. And first part of it is just formation recognition, looking at the route stems and how they're trying to protect each angle of the cut. They go in, out, and up, from a bunch of different spots, and they have good variety and throw it to all, the tight ends. They throw it to the receivers, to the back. So we've got to be aware of all that.
Do you get Trevin back this week?
We should, yes. He was out there today participating.
Facing 2 of the more highly known play callers in the league 2 weeks in a row. What's the difference in those 2, and what is the challenge when we're facing that?
Start with the similarities. There's great balance in what they do. They make sure they get the run game going, and they have actions that come off of that. The drop back schemes, they're different from one team to the next, but it's about execution. It's about finding that first open guy and playing fast in the pocket and guys being where they're supposed to be. So it's timing sensitive. All those things are. But I think it's also just the variety of the attack and the different ways, the screen game, the run game, the pass game, all those things really tied in. And it's a really detailed part of what they do with their formations to make everything look the same. Starts the same, ends up different. And 2 guys that I really respect, to be able to look at the crossover tape, to watch as I'm studying the defense, but to flip over on the other side and to see how they deploy their offense. These are guys that I really respect and try to emulate.
Coach, in a shortened week like this, how does your preparation change? Do you try to cram everything as possible, or do you look to kind of pick and choose spots of more emphasis versus maybe a full week where you'd have more time?
It's really just the Tuesday. The Tuesday is the day that really gets crammed a little bit because playing on Monday night, that's typically a prep day, afternoon, evening, once you've gone through Tell the Truth Monday. So when we get to Tuesday, we have to kind of condense some of the information to make sure that, we can get all those things done, whether it's first, second, and third down. And we just got to be really efficient with our time. The good part about it is at this point in the season, we know what we're doing. We know the concepts. And so then it's just a matter of making those decisions quickly to put our guys in the best position.
What do you hope to get out of the 2 new cornerbacks, Rochelle and Long?
Yeah, they got to come and help us out. They got to contribute. And these are guys that Jonathan Cooley has familiarity with, also Ajero, guys that they've coached before in the past. Both were former Rams, too, so they'll have some familiarity with the concepts, and that'll be a good thing for us. And we're going to ask those guys to help on special teams as well in different ways.
Dave, without, you've been doing these quarterly reviews. Are you going to do that during the bye week instead now, since you didn't really have Monday to kind of do that this?
Absolutely. We'll take the bye week the first couple days, dive into those things, dive into all of our processes, offense, defense, and special teams, and look at guys, see who can help us and see who is helping us, and try to keep putting them in those positions to be successful.
Are you
Are you at the point where you feel like you said you guys know the concepts, you know what's going on? Do you feel like any sort of major change that you would make to either play calling or the depth chart would be the answer moving forward? Are you at a point where you just think pushing forward is the best thing to do?
Yeah, just execution. And all of us, myself included, making sure that the game plan we put together, the vision that we have comes to life. And making sure that our players are continuing to improve fundamentally. And that's the difference at this point in the season. It's the teams that can find a way to improve their technique and fundamentals and continue to make that an emphasis late into the season that have success. And so we got to get back to that, making sure we're executing on all sides. And then for sure, from a coaching staff standpoint, making sure we're connected to the things that have found us success and be committed to those.
Hey, with the way that the season has gone and the bye week being so late, first, how is the room holding up? Because I know there's injuries this week that have to be contended with. There have been injuries all season long, but this has been a long slog to get to this point.
Absolutely, and we have our rhythms, and the guys know what to expect when they show up each day. So we have that process in place. So that part feels good, and they're hungry. You know, they're hungry to get back to work. They're hungry for another opportunity to play against a formidable opponent, an NFC opponent, and to play our best football in that game.
Is the bye week maybe a talking point to your guys this week, saying that's the carrot that's out there, empty the tank this week, or do you even broach that?
Nah, we have to have the mentality to empty the tank every single week and have that championship mentality so that we don't treat any of these games different. They're all high-stakes games, especially now at this point in the season.
Your championship mentality, you have a handful of former Rams players and coaches. How important have those guys been in helping you establish the culture here?
It's huge, and I love having coaches that come from different places that have had success so that I can bounce off ideas for ways we might structure our meetings, ways we might structure our practices, and also just from a game plan standpoint, how to attack, how to get different concepts involved, because that's where we can pick different pieces from where we've been and try to make those come alive, so long as it fits what the players do well, you know, and having a bunch of guys come from the Rams, you know, Goody and Joe were at the Bucks, you know, and they had a lot of success in the last couple of years, and really just allows us to have that diversity along the staff and good information.
You don't want to talk about execution. I'm just curious, what leads to poor execution? Is it overthinking, just from a coach's standpoint?
We always try to go back to the fundamentals, the basics of technique, first and foremost, starting the playoff with the right formation, making sure we're in a great stance. And then the basic parts of it, blocking, tackling, exploding off the ball, taking care of the ball, all those basic things, because in any given day, scheme outside, if you set scheme aside, it's always going to come back to the most technically sound players that have success, most technically sound play callers. We have to be committed to those things that fit the areas so the guys can anticipate what's coming. And that allows us to play fast. But that's always something tangible that our players can really sink their teeth into. And that's always been a goal of mine, is to try to give them something real that they can work on. And each player, each coach, looking for ways to improve, looking for ways to find an edge from week in and week out.
It sounds so simple, but is it difficult? I mean, you said stance, and I mean, it just seems like basic stuff.
It's very difficult, and I think it gets overlooked because focus and refocus is the real challenge. Can you continue to refocus on a play-to-play basis, drive to drive, and then, of course, week to week? Can you refocus and re-engage your mind to find constant improvement? Our goal is to find our best football. That's got to be the pursuit, so that we can improve the whole thing. And that takes discipline, that takes focus, and particularly when we get a bye week this late in the season, it really does take that type of mental toughness to show up and go back to work and find an edge.
Generally speaking, I know you don't want to talk about specific I know you don't want to talk about specific injuries, but when you're dealing with a young player who's oft injured, and you've seen it multiple times, but you also think that player is talented, how do you balance the upside of the talent versus can I depend on this player when I'm trying to win a ball game, like when you're doing the planning process of the week?
Yeah, well, where I go initially is just making sure I'm connecting with the player to keep them motivated to get back to the place where they are physically fit and ready to go. But then there's like an emotional part as well, because guys can get discouraged, you know, when they keep fighting against this or that and things start to show up, you know, particularly our college players coming to the pros in the season starts to get really long at this point. And emphasizing the importance of body care and all that, and then also being able to motivate them on the things that they're doing well and how to just continue to build that way so that we can compartmentalize it so they don't start making broad judgments about how this season is going to turn out for them specifically, but where they can actually just focus in on what is the next task at hand, whether it's getting back physically or whether it's taking the next step mentally, being involved in our game plans.
Kind of up on what Mike asked earlier, not that
Yeah.
question, but you're obviously raised the expectations here with the wins you've had so far. But with that, people become even more specific
Yeah.
with things. And he was asking about the play calling.
Yep.
What do you feel like you bring to the play calling? How do you evaluate how you've been as a play caller? And do you feel like that's the best thing moving forward?
It's an important part of everything, and I try to be really transparent with the players and to own up to the places and the areas I could do better in this situation. And I want them to understand this is all of us. We're accountable to each other. We're all pushing to try to win, to try to improve our football. And I'm certainly a part of that as a head coach, and then of course as the play caller. So we all have to be connected on that, and we all have to be real about it, and look at the opportunities. And while players may get the scrutiny for a missed play here, a missed block there, a drop pass, an errant throw, a missed tackle, those types of things happen. The coaches are involved as well, and we all got to be on the same page and be humble about it and be looking forward to improving. And for me as a youngish play caller, but pretty early in my career, every week is a lesson for me. Every week there's something to take, and I have great people around me that we talk to, that we have accountability with, and I lean on those guys because I want to get better as well as we continue to do this process. Yep. Thank you.
Favorite side on Thanksgiving? Bryce, the passing game has obviously been inconsistent throughout the year. You guys have had some pretty big highs and some low lows. Why do you think you guys have struggled to kind of maintain the momentum in the passing game from week to week?
Yeah, it just boils down to execution. Obviously, it goes week to week. You know, you got to be able to turn the page, whether it be good or bad. And we have all the guys in there with the right mindset. It's just execution. You know, I think first just growing that identity. You know, all of us, especially as a younger unit. But now, you know, everyone's pros. Everyone's embraced it. There's no excuse, you know, for us not to be consistent. So that's a challenge for us. You know, at the end of the day, we want to do whatever it takes to win. Obviously, pass game helps out the run game, helps out the explosives, helps out the team. So, you know, we're working to be more consistent there.
I know a lot is made of like the multiple different iterations of the offensive line, but they're blocking pretty well.
For sure.
Do you feel like there is a strength in being able to not only have that depth, but also most of those guys are familiar with, you've played with them for multiple years. Like, is that helping with your mobility and your anticipation?
100%. It's a huge luxury having the line that we've had, like you said, with so many different lineups. Everyone's kind of came in and not missed a beat. You know, that speaks to the culture of the room, to the coaches, to everyone. And for me, it gives me a ton of comfortability. You know, I'm super grateful for the unit we have.
A lot of rollouts called to you, and I know the plus and minuses on that. Do you feel like that allows you to get comfortable in the passing game, or do you feel more comfortable if you were just in shotgun and away would have done it from there?
No, I feel comfortable with whatever coach calls. You know, obviously, I trust him to be balanced, to call the game how he sees fit. You know, whatever it is week to week that he feels like is necessary, tell me to execute. I feel comfortable doing it, yeah, there's no excuses there. You know, for me, no matter what it is, I pride myself in being able to execute that we do as offense. So that's always a mindset.
Enrico put an emoji out Tuesday with a kind of confused look. He only had 6 carries. Have you and he talked about that, and how did that how did that go if you did?
Yeah, not about that specifically, but you know, Rico's a competitor. Obviously, he wants to win. We always want to win. Didn't get that done. So you know, we all have competitive spirit. We all have that stuff. We talk about the game and the game plan and the stuff that's in house. What we do under this building. So you know, that'll be the focus.
When you're looking at your evaluating your own play as you go through and watch the tape, are you seeing opportunities where maybe you could run more, or no, or what do you think?
I'm just taking things, you know, play by play. You know, we talk about getting through progressions. When one's open, throwing a number one. Obviously, coaches put plays in with a 1, a 2, a 3, or 4. My job is to get through all that when I can. You know, and when there's times to run, when the play breaks down, when we're above the time clock, then that's what it is. But you know, again, every game is different, every play is different. Regardless of running and passing, you know, you can't predetermine either one. You have to make whatever is the right decision for the team. So the goal is to be as efficient in doing that as possible.
When you do film study after the games, are you ever really surprised by what you see, or are you able to go from play to play and kind of analyze each play after, like on the sideline, or is it once you look at the film in totality, do you ever come away with anything different than what you might have seen, you know, drive to drive?
Yeah, of course. Whenever you're able to watch after the game, you're able to watch the full, the full picture. Obviously, you can't see everything on the field, and then you don't see what happened on the backside when the ball's already let go. Things like that. That information you take in. Then on the sideline, you know, you get the pictures. So obviously, you don't get the full after whatever it cuts off in. So you know, there's always takeaways you get to learn from watching the film after.
Right, so you guys have been in several situations this year where you've bounced back with big performances after tough games. Is it just human nature to be a little more focused, a little sharper in those situations?
I wouldn't say so. You know, we pride ourselves in not looking at the week before and turning the page and focusing week to week. You know, we don't look at it as an advantage, a disadvantage, anything like that. You know, we're 0-0. That's how we look at it as. We have a great opportunity against a really good team we have a ton of respect for this week. So right now we're just doing everything we can during the week to, you know, give ourselves the best chance to be successful.
What has made the Rams so successful?
Obviously, watching the defensive side, studying that. You know, it's a lot of things. How hard they play, how physical they are up front. It's a really good group. You know, they play with a lot of physicality. You know, high motors, guys that you could tell understand the system, have a lot of dog up front. So with stopping the run, getting after the passer, they do a really good job. You know, at the second level, they communicate really well. They do a great job orchestrating things with play recognition, run and pass. And then, you know, a really good group in the back end as well. Great job, pattern matching, very, very smart guys back there. You know, they go and get after the ball. And then do a great job mixing in coverages, mixing in blitzes, giving us, having scheme that, you know, obviously from the protection side of run sign, we have to spend time scheming up and having looks for. So, you know, it's a myriad of things. Again, it's a really good group, really good unit. For us, it's a great opportunity to go up against a great unit, you know, work on our execution. So we're excited for the opportunity.
I'm just curious, if you had to quantify it, like how much tape do you watch in a week? How many hours?
Yeah, I don't know about hours, but just stay after for however long. It's, again, I don't go for a time. I have like a set routine of the things that I want to get watched. Just a couple games a day with the cut-ups, stay ahead of what day it is, you know, watching games through different lenses, and then a couple of other miscellaneous cut-ups that I just watch at different times as a routine. So, again, honestly, to be honest, it depends on how focused I am. I take a lot. It gets, obviously throughout the year, it's a lot. So I'm always listening to something. If I feel like I want a break, I take that. So it's more just I have a set amount of things I need to watch versus how long it takes.
How do you then decompress during the week? Like, what's something, like, I know you play video games, you watch basketball, but, like, is there something that you specifically do to, like, have it like a happy place sort of during the week?
Yeah, I really just, I just leave everything here. I'll stay, I watch film and do all that stuff here for however long I need to. And then, like, the moment I'm done with that last thing for the day, when I leave, I'm not thinking about the game plan. I don't think about football. You know, you have your little exceptions every once in a while, but I just, when I'm here, I'm the Q, I'm doing whatever it takes for a team, and then when I leave night to night, then I'm just, you know, myself away from football.
Wednesday was his day. He'd come in and go grab some Thai food, come in here, eat the same thing every week, and be here like 11 o'clock at night. Have you got like a routine like that? And what's the latest you've stayed here?
Yeah, I have a routine, you know, for every day. I couldn't tell you the latest I've stayed, but again, honestly, it all boils down to how focused I am as far as getting things done without a break. Some days I just don't take a break and watch everything I need to watch. Some days I'll push it back and I'll procrastinate, or if I have something to do in the training room, I'll do that first. So again, it's the same amount of stuff getting watched. The time varies, just depends on the day.
Best pass rush team you faced this year, and why?
It's hard to compare, but again, just from this week, yeah, it's a great unit. Individually, they do a great job creating one-on-ones, winning those one-on-ones. They do a great job scheme-wise. You know, it's rare in this league. I don't want to say rare, but it's always, you know, it's always, you give a lot of credit when you see people are able to, you know, create pressures and sacks off both scheme and one-on-one wins, and they're able to do that. They've been able to do that all year. So, again, we have a ton of respect for this unit. It'll be a great challenge for us.
Circle back on something you mentioned before about leaving it all here. When did you grow to appreciate the value of being able to have that cutoff point for yourself?
Yeah, that's something that I started in college, and it was just something that was really helpful for me. I've really appreciated it since then. It kind of allows me to just, again, be my all here, kind of have that line in the sand, and then decompress. Make sure that, you know, I try not to let it overflow, give myself time to be human, know what to expect from a day-to-day basis. So, yeah, it's been helpful.
Right, so you look at like Stafford, he's had an incredible season. He's 27 straight touchdown passes, Mike was saying, without an interception, 30 touchdowns on the year. I'm curious, during the year, do you ever have a chance to look at what other quarterbacks are doing? I know you got all your preparation you have to do, so probably I don't know, limited time. But do you have any chance to look at what other quarterbacks are doing, or is that mostly saved for after the season?
Yeah, it depends on. So I've watched a lot of Stafford just because we played the NFC West. So we a lot of similar opponents, and yeah, I mean he's been balling, and not like that's new. You know, he's an amazing quarterback for the duration of his career, he's been elite for a really, really long time. So yeah, I've been able to watch a ton of games because of that. Have a ton of respect for him, for the way he plays, for everything about him. So yeah, I have a ton of respect for him.
Understanding how prolific that offense has been this season, and the defense is missing some pieces potentially on Sunday. How much, maybe pressure isn't the right word, but urgency is there to make sure that you're controlling the ball and moving the ball and score? I mean, obviously that's the goal every possession. But
Yeah, no, it's no added pressure. One, we have faith in our defense. We trust in them. We believe in them. Obviously, we respect them as an offense, as a defense, as a team. But always trust my guys, and then I trust on coach for that. We don't go in saying, hey, this is going to be a slow game, or this is going to be we're going to run as many plays as possible. That's not how it is. We put in plays. Obviously, we trust coach to kind of read the game, read how he feels like it should go. He has great discernment when it comes to that stuff. So for whatever game it ends up being, we're prepared for whatever it is. We're always going to be have an attacking mindset, attacking mentality on offense. That's one of our pillars. And then obviously for us as an offense, when coach has certain calls in, situational stuff, we know what it means. So whatever it is, we're going to trust coach with that.
Do you have memories of the Rams coming back to LA when you were in high school?
Yeah, I was younger. I remember it. High school probably is about the time. It was a while without a team in LA.
Can I follow you on one question on Stafford? I mean, he went through a lot of hard times over his career. He played for a team that wasn't complete, and he really didn't get to show all he could do until he got to the Rams. What do you take from that and what's that experience he's been through?
Not really something that I've personally thought about a lot. Just again, I'm not a big comparer of others. I just try to run my own race. Again, big fan of Stafford and everything he's been throughout his entire career. A ton of respect for him. Again, not just from this season, but since I've gotten to the league, I've been able to watch a lot of film of his, and again, have a ton of respect for him. Me personally, I'm just kind of a run my own race type of person. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate you guys.